Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're cruising with the Sea Dog. This is the Sea Dog here, and I just wanted to do a little week review of wrestling. Wait, that didn't come out right. A wrestling review for the week, this past week. And there's really just two things I want to talk about as we get closer to WrestleMania that have nothing to do with WrestleMania. The two things are NWA Powerrr and the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. That was this past Friday. First, let me get to NWA Powerrr. So, last Sunday, well, when you're listening to this, it would be 2 Sundays ago. Was that March 21st was the return of NWA. And then 2 days later, March 23rd, was the return of NWA Powerrr. I was very excited until I go to see it. And I already knew it wasn't on YouTube. It was on Fight. And Fight has free content. What I didn't realize was this was not free content. The options, the only smart option I saw was become an NWA Powerrr Club member. I believe that's what it's called, for $4.99. Not a bad price, but you're talking about 4 hours of wrestling a month for $4.99. Unless they have some extra wrestling, which honestly I think they could pull off an all-female wrestling show, even if it's just a half hour. But as far as I know, that $4.99 is just getting you NWA. Maybe it'll add the pay-per-views. That would be great. But here's my problem with it. And it's not so much I have a problem with it, as much as I don't know how good of a move it is, especially if that $4.99 a month doesn't include any pay-per-views. How will they draw new fans to NWA? This model, though, it kind of guarantees them money, is going to turn away those people who are like, I'm not paying $4.99 for 4 hours of wrestling every month. If Powerrr's even that long. And I will get said Powerrr Club membership, if that's what it's called. Even if it's not, that's not what it's called. So I assume the episodes are still an hour, like hour-ish, like they were on YouTube. But even still, you're talking about, even if it was a 2-hour program, that's 2 hours a week for 4 weeks, usually, for $4.99. So that would be a little bit better deal. But how are you going to draw in new people? No one's going to be like, well, let me go to YouTube and check it out. They'll be like, oh, I got to go to Fight TV to check it out. And hopefully they'll be like me and think, oh, it must be free content. Go there and it's not free content. Are they going to be like, well, I haven't seen NWA Powerrr, but let me drop $4.99 on this content? Now, the only thing I can see they can do is have big surprises and make people go, oh, what's going on over there at NWA Powerrr? I gotta check it out. Yeah, I'll pay $4.99. That ain't nothing. Now, if you look at their numbers when they were on YouTube, they started very high. And those numbers dwindled some, but they're still very good. But you're adding $4.99 to that equation now. So we'll see how that goes, but I would not be surprised if NWA changes things up. Now, on to the ROH pay-per-view. Decent pay-per-view. Here's my problems with it. First off, they have a pre-show, and I was not sure how to watch it. I don't know if it was on Fight for free or what. I paid for the pay-per-view. I didn't watch it live. I had to watch it later in the week just because life. I watched it Sunday, so it's pretty fresh in my head. It was a good pay-per-view, but like I said, problems other than not being able to see the pre-show. I guess I should try to find it, but I already know what happened. So anyway, obviously there's no fans in the... Well, that's not obvious because other places have fans. They have no fans. I feel like maybe the problem is they're in Maryland. I don't know their COVID rules right now. But I feel like they could fit a few people into the University of Maryland Baltimore County Event Center. That's a decent-sized arena, but they have it closed off to where it's just the floor and the stage and a good-sized entrance. I feel like, though, they could put a few people in the crowd. NWA had one aisle's worth, and that's of their arena, 1/3 of one front row. And they made enough noise in their pay-per-view that I was satisfied. It didn't feel weird. It just felt like a small crowd. And yeah, that small crowd was probably NWA employees or family members of the wrestlers or whatnot. And I feel like NWA or Ring of Honor could do the same thing. Just have a few people in there. Have them spaced out. Even though when WB had people spaced out, it was kind of weird. It felt weird. Even when they had all those NXT people. And then they were starting to bring in like friends and family. But I think Ring of Honor could have pulled that off. Shoot. Spoiler alert, if you didn't see the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Homicide's in Ring of Honor now. I don't know if he's going to pull double duty, but he was at the NWA show. So he could tell them how they got the most out of that small crowd to make noise for the show. And it would be great if they could have the upper decks, but the upper deck's kind of far, so it wouldn't be good to have that. But I would like to see them start putting a few people in there. Though I believe, now that I think about it, Maryland did ban any crowds from sporting events. I don't know when that's going to lift, or even if it has, I don't believe it has. But if they're employees, that's different. And Ring of Honor, you want to pay some people to hang out and watch Ring of Honor? I don't live too far away. I've been to your shows before. I've made that drive. Throw me some money to be a paid crowd member. I'll make that noise. And really, you could have people from the outside come in and be crowd members for money. And you tell them, hey, you make enough noise, or, we expect a certain amount of noise and enthusiasm, or you're not getting paid. And if you're an a-hole, you're going to get thrown out. Good thing to test now that they're about to do TV tapings. They probably did TV tapings already this past Saturday and maybe Sunday. So anyway, another problem I had with the pay-per-view was the Pure Championship match. Little 5'3", 5'4", maybe 5'5", Jonathan Grisham faced 6'7", Dak Draper, the Mile High Magnum. He's huge, and he can wrestle. My problem with that match is not that spoiler alert, it's not that Jonathan Gresham won the match. And this is more with the wrestlers, because they probably put their match together, is the way the match went. When a guy with that big of a physical advantage, and you know he can wrestle, is in a match that is about wrestling, and for those of you who don't know, the Pure title rules are, there's no closed fist punches. You get one warning. Next time you do it, you're out of the match. No interference. Because if anyone comes down and interferes, they'll be fired. The referee doesn't have to catch them. You only get 3 rope breaks. And there's a time limit. That's about it. And there's judges. Anyway, so that match focuses mostly on the grappling. But there's still kicks, clotheslines, open fists. Ref gave them both warnings about grinding their wrists into their face, each other's faces. But the way the match went, like I was saying, Draper with such a physical advantage, and they made it clear he knew how to wrestle. He was like a national champion runner-up or something like that, I forget. But to watch him not take advantage of situations, it's like, I did this to him, and then I'm not going to try to cover him, I'm just going to stand there. So you buy that he's recovering, so you buy that the little guy is recovering from what I did to him. And it was constant, and it got annoying. I was like, just finish this guy. Come on, Draper, finish Grisham. And if they wanted Grisham to win, those two needed to come up with a better match than what they did. I don't think that was Ring of Honor. I think that was those two. Unless Ring of Honor is like, listen, this is how the match has to go, and you're going to do this and that, blah, blah, blah. So really, it's just who produced that match the most? Who decided that Draper was just going to stand around a lot, not take advantage of the multiple times he really could have finished the match. I goozled him. I'm ready to chokeslam him, but I'm just going to hold him for the 5 count. I think 3 times he goozled Gresham, and instead of chokeslamming, he looks at the ref while the ref is 5 counting him. Like, what are you guys doing? So I was very unhappy with that match. It could have been a really good match. It could have been a match where he just dominates Gresham and Gresham locks him in a submission. Yeah, here's another thing. One of the big stories of the match is both exhausted their 3 rope breaks. After 3 rope breaks, you don't get any more. So to eliminate 2 of Draper's, Gresham hits him with a running forearm. All right. He uses a rope for 1. And then Gresham, while Draper's trying to get up, hits him with another running forearm. And then Draper uses a rope break again. That was kind of cheesy, especially when Gresham goes for the 3rd one, Draper just gets up and grabs him. That was a real cheesy way for them to kill 3 rope breaks. And then further in the match, I understood it, but it was a bad look on them. First, Draper uses a closed fist and about knocks out Gresham. The ref gives him his 1 warning and then counts, because there's also a 10 count. Which, for starters, I think if you do something illegal and that leads to a pinfall or something, the ref should wave it off. Kind of like in UFC, if you accidentally kick a guy in the balls or poke him in the eyes, that guy gets a time amount to recover before the fight continues. That should have been what happens there. But he doesn't, so he starts counting the 10 count. Gresham is not moving at all. Now, granted, remember here, at this point, Gresham has no rope breaks. So I understand what happens here, but let me explain to you what happens. So the ref gets about 9, and then Gresham rolls underneath the rope. That's not a rope break, that's him being out of bounds. It's not like a last man standing match where it doesn't matter where you are, you get counted out. He's out of bounds. You don't count a guy out when he's out of bounds. I believe in boxing, if you get knocked out of the ring and you're coherent, usually if somebody gets knocked out of the ring, they're not coherent. They don't count. They make sure he's good and see if he can continue and blah, blah, blah. So Gresham rolls under the rope. The person I'm watching with is like, I thought he was out of rope breaks. And it took me like a few minutes. I had to explain to him about it being out of bounds. But yeah, I understand. that was kind of like a rope break. That's kind of what rope break is. You get you're out of bounds. So it was kind of cheesy. Well, that was his words, cheesy. It was cheesy that he beat the 10 count by rolling under the ropes. I mean, at least roll out of the ring. It's not like that match forbids going out of the ring. But yeah, those two things right after each other in a match that was like, come on. But yeah, that was my big problem with that. The match, the pay-per-view was pretty good. There were some other weird parts. EC3 versus Briscoe was good, but it was kind of like if there was a crowd there, I've been curious of the reaction.